Like, it's been tough. You know, my life has been tough over the last decade. It has. And when I read a message like that, I'm sorry that I'm tearing up like a baby. But when I read a message like that, it makes me feel like it was worth it. You know, like all the shit that happened to me and all the stress and the mental shit that I go through on a daily basis sometimes. And just gotta post it up here on the channel page. All right, and we are posted. Cool. Shout out to Carrot Blanca, who just gifted a single membership. It went to Average at Best. And thank you to Mishael, who gifted a single membership that went to Anthony. So congratulations to the two of you on the gifted memberships there. And thank you guys for the support tonight. That we're 378 out of the 380 goal that I had for tonight. We're 2 more to go in the next hour. Thank you guys. All right, ready? We're just going to do some impromptu Q&A. Stream day? On a 2-stream day? I don't know. I don't really keep stats of that stuff. I really have no clue. What time do I usually go to bed? It all depends. Usually Kat starts to get tired between like 12:31, you know, in the morning. And then, you know, she showers and we get in bed. Some days I'll go right to sleep. I'll be dead tired. I'm like, out. And then other nights I don't feel so tired. And so, you know, I'll watch some stuff, watch some videos, you know, do some random stuff. It all depends. Depends on the time and what we've done that day and how tired we are and stuff. No, I'm not going to be interviewing random viewers for DSP Reacts because that would put too much attention on particular viewers, and you know how my trolls are. They're disgusting people. So I'm not going to be doing that and then have these people be harassed because of it, so no. Actually, it's a little bit, cold in here, so if you could allow me to close the window a bit. Jeff says you probably would have trolls, but not as bad. A lot of older creators have a crew of malcontents that follow them around gossiping. Yeah, but that's a little different. Like, here's an example, all right? Angry Joe has people who hate his guts, but he's still successful. He still makes a great living, and he's still super popular on YouTube. Angry Video Gamer, my God, he had a lot of backlash over the last few years because he doesn't even make the content anymore. Like, it's scripted for him. He's just an actor, okay? But still, he still puts out million-view episodes and stuff. You know what I mean? So, you know, even though when you reach a certain level, okay, when you reach a certain level of popularity and success, the criticism doesn't really matter anymore. It doesn't. You're kind of immune to it. You've reached that level where you're going to always be popular and have support no matter what happens. And I don't think I ever hit that level. You know, I was close at one point, but I always kind of floundered. And then This Is How You Don't Play destroyed that credibility for me, and that was the end of it. Since then, it's just like, let's just beat the crap out of this guy, you know, just because we can. So, I received a $1.50 tip from Slayer. What's going on, man? He says, well, I'm here for some Q&A. I want to clarify the React video. We're going to Callisto Protocol criticism from his perspective. The guy didn't like the inventory system because he didn't like the ammo and items going to waste, not being used or sold but dropped. He'd rather items be used a lot in combat and not have enough ammo, or they give him lesser ammo. He doesn't constantly keep finding ammo that won't be used. He was complaining like that. You know, and then how they can all turn against you. You know what I'm saying? How the internet did. It turned against me. For sure it did. 1,000,000%. This Is How You Don't Play is the origin of that hatred. Before This Is How You Don't Play, the internet kind of razzed me and did dumb things. Every once in a while, you would get like a crazy person who was like, oh, DSP cult leader, right? But it wasn't until This Is How You Don't Play that it became, we're laughing with Phil, to we're laughing at Phil at his expense. We don't care if it hurts him, his business, or anything personally, as long as we get to make fun of him. That's when everything changed, you know? And that was 12 years, or 11 years ago. So for 11 years, things have just gotten worse and worse and worse to now, the stuff is just insane. It's the hate mob. And logical people see it from the outside and say, what is going on? This is so stupid. They don't even understand it. Dark and Terry says, do you regret staying in your lane all these years and not really branching out more with interviews or co-op or collabs? I'm sure you'd have a lot more in common with some people. You know, I mean, that was always the intention. The problem was, again, This Is How You Don't Play kind of ruined everything. I mean, things were going good until late 2012. They were. And then once public opinion started turning against me, all of a sudden my friends start to get harassment for being in my content and shit. And, you know, I move across the country, right? And once I moved across the country, now it's like another negative. Oh, how dare Phil get a house and everything. You know, it's pretty crazy. If I had become reliant on things that were branching out, I probably would have been less successful, I feel. Because over time, those things would have dried up. And what if I was only known as the co-op guy? And now all of a sudden, no one wants to co-op with me anymore, right? I think maybe staying isolated may have actually been my saving grace over all these years, right? Because in reality, when I left Connecticut and I came here 9 years ago, right? What was lost? Well, no more Smart Guys pro wrestling commentary and no more once-a-week collaborations with John Rambo. Was it a change? Yes. Was it a negative change? Of course it was. But did it end my content? No. I was still very much the same person making the same content with one aspect of that content gone, but the majority of what kept this business going was me being here all week, putting out content nonstop by myself. And that continued. So imagine now, if 50% of my content was collaborations, you know, travel, interviews, and all that went away, I probably would have went out of business. So maybe it made sense to do things the way that I did, you know? And it was just luck. It wasn't like I was thinking ahead. It was just blind luck. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no, I've already said it a million times. I would not box another YouTuber. I'm not one of these people pulling stunts for money. It's ludicrously stupid. Sith Alchemist says, you worried about rising crime rates in the Seattle area? You're always worried about rising crime rates anywhere. Of course. What is... No. I have no impact by rising crime. Of course, everyone cares about it. Have I considered hiring an editor? So, let me respond to that saying, there was one point when I was at the height of my popularity. So we're talking, you know, 2011, 2012, only a year or two removed from being out of my office job. And I still had contact with some of the people back then who I was doing that office job. And one of them, actually, I was still friendly with. And it was a girl from the office. And she was like, wow, I just checked out your YouTube channel. Holy shit. It's like huge. I was like, yeah, hundreds of millions of views. This is pretty wild. I'm making tons of money and everything. And she actually asked me, she says, if you ever have work, could I work for you? Because, you know, she had stayed at the helicopter company and things were falling apart there. And I was like, you know, maybe you could be the person who uploads my videos, who titles the videos, who, you know, who does thumbnails or something. I was actually considering doing something like hiring a person or two. I told you guys this in Connecticut. I mean, this is a million years ago now. I told you I was considering actually renting out office space. And the office would be where I go, like a 9-to-5 job every day. I go in there. I got my setups going. I can sit down. I can record. I can upload right there, right? Leave it going. Have employees who are there, who are covering things like the social media aspect of the business, who are posting up schedules, who are uploading the videos. Because back then, it wasn't as easy as today. It was actually significant work to upload videos to YouTube back in the day. Today, it's very simple because they've simplified it. And then, you know, talking about expanding. If I had my own studio, my own office, my own set of employees, right? Now maybe I could do even bigger and better things. I told you guys I had aspirations to have a news show where I had a news desk with like a green screen behind me, excuse me, a backdrop green screen where I would have like things behind me and I would be like a newscaster once a day, put out like a 10-minute news show talking about video game news and stuff like that. These were all ideas I had when I was at the height of my popularity. You know, they never really came to fruition. Do you want to know why? I'll tell you why. This is how you don't play. I kid you not. That was the beginning and the end of all of that for me. Once that video series alone turned me from being a prominent, respected content creator into a joke on the internet. And it became, instead of we like Phil and his content, it's we make fun of Phil and his content. And after that, that's when all the different declines and things started happening. And, you know, what else can I do? What else can I do? It all just kind of went poof over the years. And it just got worse and worse. Every time there was another troll who would mess with my livelihood and do things and do illegal things to me, you know, it all just compounded worse and worse. But yeah, no, that was my intention. At one point, I was actually going to rent out office space and have workers there who I was going to hire and pay to do work for me because I could afford it back then. I had all these aspirations, man. I did. This is something I wanted to do, and it just never worked out. Says, some people say bad exposure is good exposure, but probably not the case with This Is How You Don't Play. Here's the difference. Here's the difference, okay? Let's say, for example, there is a celebrity, a actor, that gets a bad reputation, correct? But they continue to get work. Well, guess what? They'll continue to make money. They'll continue to be successful as long as people continue to see them in movie. Even if you don't like that person for their personal life, sometimes you'll still go see them in a movie, right? With This Is How You Don't Play, literally they take my content, they edit it in a way that creates fair use, and essentially they make it into a transformative work that's toxic and negative. So they're protected legally to make that content, but now it encourages people to not actually check out my own content. Imagine if, you know, I don't know. Well, let's talk about Robert Downey Jr. He used to be someone with the worst reputation, absolutely worst reputation, right? He was known as the guy who was a druggie. He was horrible, getting into crimes and things, all kinds of messed up stuff, correct? But then he kind of had a resurgence of his career. But imagine if when he was trying to resurge his career, all his movies were all over the internet, pirated, just to make fun of him for free. Now that didn't happen. Why? Because you can't do that with movies. In movies, you get sued and shit. You get shut down with copyright claims, right? But because I'm a YouTuber, my stuff's not really protected, and therefore, everyone was able to rip my content for free. And essentially, what happened was all the people who used to like me turned into a hate mob, because it was more fun to become toxic and hate on me, which was possible to do on YouTube because there was no protections against it, than to like me. And it became this group, almost cultish mentality of people. It's fun to hate on Phil because he is very susceptible to it. It hurts him concretely. We can see the actual net results of the things we're doing that hurt him, and we enjoy that, seeing that pain. We like seeing him writhe in pain. And so they would keep twisting the knife as much as they could. And it destroyed my business because I had no protection against it. You know, again, there's a difference. When you get to a certain height level of popularity, you're immune to that kind of stuff. I was never immune to that kind of stuff. I always was susceptible to it. You know, I was in that earlier group of popular gaming YouTubers. I never reached that height of immunity. So once they started stealing my content and editing it into nasty, toxic stuff, people would watch that instead of the raw stuff. So now my views are going down for the actual unedited content that's fair, and the unfair, slanderous shit just went exponentially up. It's messed up that YouTube ever allowed it to happen, but... right? To be a full-time streamer on Twitch, and I certainly would have changed my business model to now be reliant solely on the viewers, which you call e-begging. You created the situation, and now you don't like it. You're to blame. Look in the fucking mirror. I wasn't like this until you ruined the other whole successful business I had. And you're all immune to it because you all hid behind the internet in anonymity because little pussies you are, you know? But that's the most unfair criticism I get. The e-begging thing, listen, you can say it's too much, it annoys the viewers. Okay, that I can change. But just to say, oh, you rely on others for your income. It's like, and? You created the monster. Now you don't like the monster. You created the Frankenstein, and now the Frankenstein's destroying the village, choking the villagers, and burning everything down, and you're pissed about it. Oh, I don't like that. He's like that. You made me like that. I didn't used to have to do that. I didn't have crowdfunding until you destroyed my profitability on DSP Gaming. You're an idiot, and you can't live with yourself because you can't live with your consequences of your own actions. That's really the truth about these mobs of internet trolls. They absolutely will not be held accountable for their own actions. It's the ultimate hypocrisy. You have to hold Darkside Phil fully accountable for every single thing he ever said and done. But God forbid we ever have to look at ourselves and look at what we did to him and for 1 second say, oh shit, well, yeah, he actually was successful until we ruined everything for him. So, they don't want, no, they can't do that. It's ultimate levels of hypocrisy. And they won't ever, ever address that in a rational fashion because it destroys their whole arguments against me. You see? Okay. Huh? Little Mac and Mario cutouts. Cutouts. These are not cutouts. This is artwork that was actually hand painted by people.